talk about some of the artists that you produced. I mean, you talk about the Love I Lost from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, and you were the ones that played on this album, right? On the
Right.
songs.
We also produced. I mean, we also, talking about the some of the production stuff. I mean, Gamble Huff and Tommy Bell, Bobby Martin, they're producers, but Baker Harris, we're also producers too.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes.
Yes.
we went. Matter of fact, um, let me give you a little heads up first on how we did with Gamble and Huff. When Gamble and Huff, Kenny Gamble, I have much respect for him. He was a singer with the Romeos, and Tommy Bell and Rolling Chambers was his band. So he was a singer. He sang pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
So when he got into the business, his first record was Expressway to My Heart,
Mm-hmm.
and he went good. And then he took his band and went into the studio and cut his group, The Intruders. He did
Okay.
Cowboys and Girls,
Yeah.
United,
Mm-hmm.
and Together.
Okay.
And then his band wanted to go. They went on the road, with Steve Wonder and other artists. They wanted to travel, so that's how we got. So when we left from Virtue Studios, he came and asked us. So we came in the studio on the tail end of it when they were leaving, and we finished up The Intruders. And soon we came in there and we cut I Always Love My Mama. That sucker went gold.
Mm.
So it's like we did I Always Love My Mama and Win Place and Show.
Yeah, maybe that's cool.
So everything we touch went gold. So everything, when you touch something and it goes gold, you don't get rid of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like a lucky piece to him.
Mm-hmm.
And we went in to cut Joe Simon, Drown to See a Love.
See Your Love, yeah.
We cut him. That was our next big gold record.
Power of Love too.
Everything we cut, everything we cut went to gold. So Tommy Bell came in and said, "Man, these guys is pretty good." So Tommy Bell took us in the studio and my first record with him was La La Means I Love You.
Oh, wow.
And back then,
You're on that record too?
Pardon?
You're on La La.
I'm on everything that the Stylists did.
All right.
And
Delphonics, right, yeah.
So the first record was
Awesome.
La La Means
That's
I
awesome.
Love You.
Yes.
So Tommy Bell, they sat my drums up in the middle of the room. If you listen to the Delphonic stuff
Mm-hmm.
and listen to everybody else up, you hear echo because we sat my drums up in the middle of the floor on a platform. And all the records I cut with the Delphonics, if you hear it, it always starts off pop, 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 boom, boom. That was my trademark for the Delphonics.
I did not realize you were on that record. That's awesome.
Every record starts like that, just about. So I still couldn't read music, but I had a sense of how a song should go because I'm a singer. I know how a song should go. It has an intro, it has a sing along, it has a verse, sing along, verse, tag. All songs go like that. So I knew how to feel a song. And Tommy, with Tommy, I cut La La Means I Love You. Then we cut Didn't I Blow Your Mind? I cut that. And then we caught Hey Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And all
with
the
Will
songs
Hart,
that we cut with him went gold. So we were like a golden masterpiece when it comes to the studio. So
now at that time, what studio were you using when you did the Delphonics recordings? What studio was that?
I think it was Cameo Parkway. I think he had a deal with Cameo Parkway back then. So everything we cut, went gold. So we was cutting with Gamble, and we was cutting with Tommy Bell, and then we cut with Bobby Martin came in. Bobby Martin said, "Well, let me use you on my stuff." So Bobby Martin had the Manhattans.
Right. Okay.
So we cut Kiss and Say Goodbye.
Wow.
So we cut all the Manhattan stuff and it went gold.
Incredible.
So this was some amazing stuff back then. And I didn't never have no click track in my ear. Nowadays they use a click track for drummers, which I call an idiot box myself. If you need a click track in your ear to keep time, you shouldn't be a drummer. Back then you had to be able to, you had to play. If you didn't play, why call you in? So I never had a click track. I never used I never overdubbed anything because with Gamble you don't overdub.
So when you recorded those songs with MFSB Orchestra, were you all in the studio together at the same time with the musicians and how was that done?
No, we have never cut. We never cut with all the musicians. Maybe one time with Vince, we might have did it, but
Montana,
everything. This is how we cut. This is how we always cut.
Okay.
We always cut. First of all, the three of us, Norman in front of me, Ronnie on my left, and Larry Washington in front of me, Bobby Eli on one side. We always had three guitar players. T.J. Tingle, he was a rock and roll guitar player. Norman was he played the mellow parts. So each guitar player had a part to play. So what we did, we bring the singer in, let him sing the song down. I couldn't really read notes. So what I did, they give you a chart. Huff would play it down one time. While the singer was singing, I would mark my own, I had my own chart that I wrote out. Looked like Chinese lettering, but I understood it. So I couldn't read what they gave me, but I wrote my own chart. And when I wrote my chart out, I said, well, I'm gonna put a drum fill here. I'm gonna put a drum fill there. And nobody ever wrote drum music for me. I mean, when I cut with Gambler, they never wrote what they played because it was my job to come to work and that was my job to have a groove. So if he brought in the intruders, I always loved my mom. He said, put a groove to it. For the love of money, put a groove to it.
Yeah.
The Love I Lost, which is one of my big disco grooves, I put a groove to it. So I basically played what I felt. And by me being a singer, I always knew what a singer wanted. By being a singer, and if you're a drummer and you don't sing, you don't know what. I mean, I knew what drummers feel. I know what they like. So when I'm playing for myself because I know what I would like to hear behind me. So I'm like,
well, there aren't many drummer singers, are there? Phil Collins is one, right?
Yeah, it's not many.
It's not very many.
It's not many drummers that record like that.
Right.
And I feel like this here when Leon Huff, when he finished the chart, he run it down one time. After I've come up with a beat, Ronnie look over the baffle and see what I'm playing on my foot. Norman with me and the bass player would hook up. Then the guitar player would hook up. Kunga player would hook up. Bobby Eli would make so. Bobby Eli was the gimmick man. He had every gimmick in the world. When I say gimmick, I mean like wah-wahs and all that kind of stuff. So everybody had a part to play. So he would count. I mean, we cut a song maybe once or twice, and that's it. That's it. I mean, it was no long rehearsal on the song. If you didn't get it if you didn't get a song the third time, what happened? Everybody will go home. And we didn't call in somebody else. If somebody got sick, we didn't call in somebody else to replace anybody. Right. What we would do, if I got sick, the session's over. Or if I didn't feel good, what we would do, we would all go down to the corner bar on 13th and Race. There was a little bar down there. Okay. And we would hang out down there with some of the ladies or play some shuffleboard back then and have a couple of drinks and talk and relax. And then we would come back and try it again. And most of the time when we come back after being relaxed, we hit that tip, man, and it's gone. And we all knew when it sounded good. And it wasn't up to Gamble and Huff and them to choose whether a song was right. We all went into the studio together, all the musicians, and he would ask you, do you think you did your best on there? Do you like this? Do you think you can do better than on this? And we would honestly say, yeah, I think I could do better. I think I messed up. I could do this a little better. And we all go back and do it again. There was no such thing as where you say, well, I'm getting paid for this, so I'm just gonna do this song and get out of here. Because we didn't make a lot of money. We made $135 for 3 hours, and $135 you can cut 4 tunes in 3 hours. So we didn't make no lot of money. That was scale.
You put your heart and soul behind what you did. That's what it is. Yeah.
Back in Philadelphia, we had two unions. We had a black union and we had a white union.
Okay.
We had a black union, which there was a black union called 47, and there was a white union called 77. The black checks went to the black union. So, I mean, that's not there anymore. It's don't go anymore. But I'm just telling you how we came up.
Right.
And half the time they couldn't even find our damn checks. We go there and they can't even find them. So, I mean, so we've been through, and when it comes to the studio, it wasn't just run in there and make a lot of money and run out. So you pay dues on each one of these gold albums here. I pay dues. I pay a lot of dues on these albums. You know, I mean, I didn't make a lot of money on it, but what I did do is make sure that I get a royalty on some of them, so that when I get of age like I am now, when I'm 85 years old, June 2nd, that I have something to fall back on.
Yeah.
Where I can
Congratulations, happy birthday to you, brother.
Mailbox.
Happy birthday.
Yes. But going to the mailbox means a lot if something happened to you, because musicians don't have insurance. So they wonder why musicians die. Musicians die because they don't have the proper insurance.
Yes.
And if you don't have insurance, you can't be taken care of. You need an operation. You might need anything. You know how much it costs nowadays for you to go in and get an operation if you're a musician and you don't have insurance. It's almost as bad as the VA. They put you on the bottom of the list, and most of the time you're last. So musicians have to have insurance, and this is the only way I made sure. I mean, I see people come up and tell me, "Oh, Earl, man, I could outplay you, man. I can play band." I say, "That's great, man. Because I can play these. Look at these. So I see guys play solos, drum solos, and they think they're the baddest drummers in the world. You know what? I don't play drum solos. I never play drum solos. I can't play drum solos. What I do when I go home, I play grooves because grooves is what make money. When I come to the studio, I got to have 1,000 grooves in my hand. If you a drummer and you making a gig, okay, you play a gig, you spend some sticks, everybody love you, you go home. But what you got? You got a salary. When I go home, I got a royalty check coming to me when I get old. So playing gigs is okay, but you have to think about what you're going to do if you break your arm. Well, I mean, you're making a gig and you break your arm. What you going to do? You're done for the rest of your life. So I tell these young drummers today, I say, look, don't depend on just the fact that you can spin sticks and you can do a great solo, because soon you do a great solo, somebody going to come along and do one better than you. You're done. There's always somebody to come out better than you. With me, there is no competition. My competition is myself. The better I get, the more hits I get. The more money I make the producer, the more money I make myself. So if you're a musician, you have to use your head and think about what you're going to do in the future, because my future is now. Yeah. So I survive off of that. You know, I still play. I still sing, but I don't depend on that. You know, if I have to go into an operation or get an operation, I'm ready for it. You know, I have top-notch insurance. I have top-notch everything. So I tell these young people today, I said, look, I tell people the drum machine is okay, but put the musicians back to work, because the musicians need to work. They have to work. And musicians is not working today. I mean, technology is good, but the people today don't care about the fact of what a record sounds like, or can they read the back of an album and find out who played on an album? No, they don't. Today they don't care about that.
It's all digital world today, you know. It's done a lot differently. That's a blessing to do. Julian, you had a question for Earl?
Yeah, I'm listening to you and just seeing how intentional you are about all the means of your musicianship, and I'm thinking back to the things that really make you legendary, the signatures, like the 4 on the floor, and you know, the 2/4 on the snare, and playing the rim and the snare at the same time. Like, as you were developing that, was that something that just came through the development process, or were you well aware at that time, like, this is leading the way and changing music, this is forming disco?
Oh yeah, this is something that I did intentionally, because being working in the studio, look, all musicians, you know, are not against each other. I mean, I listen to the Memphis sound. You know, I listen to the Motown sound. I listen to New York. I listen to Purdy. I listen to all the drummers in the world. I listen to them. Not that I don't want to be like them, but you have to know where you've been to where you're going. I have to know what they're doing to know what I'm doing. So I listen to Al Green's record, you know, and I liked I was in love with the especially the way they played Al Green's music with the toms and the snare drum and the beat, the laid back sound. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, look, I want to do something. I want to do something different. And in music, you can't create anything that's in music, because music is always going to be on black and white paper, and anybody in the world can read it. True. It's always going to be the same. It's not going to change. It's how you use things. You have to use parts of your drums different. You can't really create anything, mm-hmm. because they've been doing what I'm playing for years, but they didn't do it in that way. So what I did, I look at how people walk. When people walk and they mm-hmm. people walk to rhythm. Mm-hmm. So I said, well, let me get a bass drum on the quarter notes with how people walk, and that's
interesting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that bass drum thing is really a walking method, because there's never anywhere that you hear a bass drum that you don't move. If you got any kind of life in your body and you hear in any party, you're going to shake your hand or do something.
Yeah, matching
so
the
I
rhythm
said,
of
well,
life.
let me add something to it. So I added the 2 and the 4 and then I added like 16 notes or quarter notes, but I added it so it would sound, because like, to me, my hi-hat cymbal is my melody. That's why I use so much. If I might go, that's a melody to me. Or I might go, that's the whole thing to a groove, is your hi-hat. It ain't so much your bass drum or your snare. The hi-hat is the feel for everything, and especially disco, because I could play the hi-hat so many different ways, like that is the groove right there. Mm-hmm. And along with the 4 on the floor and the snare drum, you got a groove, man. You can't sit down with nothing like that. And nobody was playing anything like that before. Yeah. So I took that and I put it together on a record. And one thing a lot of people don't know is what I did in the studio. I recorded everything I always record a beat at 120 speed.
Okay.
I recorded at 120 speed because I knew if I put it at 120 speed, the disc jockeys can mix it easier.
Yes, DJs love that, Earl. We love that.
They do.
Yeah.
The disc
we got a whole room full of them here.
If it wasn't for the disc jockeys, there wouldn't be no hit records, because the disc jockeys is what made us. It started in the clubs, and then from the clubs, the radio jocks picked it up. But the club jocks is really what made us, because I mixed that thing at 120 speed, and nobody knew I was doing that because I'm the tempo man. So I said, if I put this at 120 speed, they can easily just mix this right on in there with my 4 on the floor beat, and they don't have to touch any of the knobs that much. And this is one of the strategies that I use in the studio. That's why the love I lost, bad love, and the love I lost.
Sound of
all
Philadelphia.
these songs is that basically at the same tempo. So a lot of things that drummers that I would say I do that I never really got, people never knew I got credit for, but I did it, because I was still an employee of Gamble and Huff, Tommy Bell, and all the producers, because I wasn't producing the records. I'm still their employer.
Okay.
So I still can't take credit for anything.
Right.
But I knew what the foundation of making that record is. But if you take out the drums, you ain't got nothing.
That's the birth of disco. And Tom, you asked a question about Disco Inferno, right?
Oh yeah. Hey Earl, I was curious. First of all, I want to commend you on your incredible memory. You have total recall. I mean, my God, I never met anybody half your age who can recall all these various sessions and everything you've been telling us for almost an hour. You're one of the most incredible individuals I've ever met in my life, number one. But
you made my day. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you. You made our day just being here.
Yes,
but my question to you, Earl, is concerning Disco Inferno. Now, I was on the radio at the time when it first came out, and we were playing it. It was a hit record. But then, of course, they added it to the soundtrack of Saturday Night Fever. And then all of a sudden it exploded as a worldwide hit. What did it feel like for a record like that to really chart twice and come back bigger the second time than it was the first time on the charts?
Well, but let me go back to, first of all, explain Disco Inferno. Disco Inferno was, we came from the movie The Towel Inferno with the party up on the roof.
Oh, wow.
You remember?
I remember that.
All right, there you go.
I remember that movie.
Right.
Well, that's the story behind Disco Inferno. Not the tragedy part, but it was taken from that, written by Ron Percy.
Oh, wow.
And when it first, answering your question, when it first came out, it was a mild R&B hit. It did. I think it went up to the 12 on the charts. It did pretty good, but it wasn't a monster. It wasn't the hit that sent us over to Europe to work. It kept us in the mild local clubs. But then what happened was, due to my, with the help of my attorney, they needed one more. We was the last song to come on the motion picture Saturday Night Fever. The last one. So hand me that album back there, please. We were the last song to go on the motion picture of Saturday Night Fever.
Wow.
And
we see it. we see you, Sylvia.
Yeah, I'm trying to get her to hand me
Fantastic.
because
Yeah.
nobody has this.
No, yes.
I just want to try to show you.
It's absolutely incredible.
Look at this.
Look at this.
This is the Saturday Night Fever
Wow.
album.
That is fantastic.
This is the Saturday
What
Night Fever album.
history.
It was sent to me,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
I cherish
That's
this
incredible.
album, man.
Yeah.
It made me some money too. So
Yeah.
our song was the last one to sneak on, And speaking about Disco Inferno, I'm probably the only drummer to ever win 2 Grammys off the same album. I won a Grammy as a drummer with KG. That's my MFSB is on there, and the Trammps. So I was staying there with one as a drummer and one as a singer. I have 2 Grammys just for that. And Saturday Night Fever took, when it came out the second time, with Saturday Night Fever, wherever the movie went, we went. We went it's not many places in the world I haven't been singing Disco Inferno. In a short time that the Trammps from 72 to 79 were together, we covered the world. And we did an awful lot of tours. And the funny thing about it is that Saturday Night Fever took us around the world, but we had other songs that people wanted to hear also. So it gave us a great show. Like, where do we go from here? Hold Back Tonight, So at the time, we did a great show. So, I wanted to do one thing. It was only 4 of us, really only 4 of us. After I put Robert in the group, so I used to look at the group like Earth, Wind and Fire, and these guys had so many guys in the group, man, and they look great, they look great, and I said, man, I want to look big like that. So what I did, I went and got the band and spent money dressing the band. And I dressed, so when you see a back of the album, you'll see a whole lot of guys, the band dressed like us. So because I wanted us to look big, I wanted us to look like a monster orchestra guy. So people was thinking that the band was part of the Trammps too. But
you guys you dressed here though. You guys are dressed here.
Right, but I wanted them I didn't want them in some old raggedy clothes and back. I said, if you're gonna come with me, you're gonna look good.
That's right. That's right.
So I dressed. It costs a lot of money to dress these guys.
Yeah.
And but the group looked good. So people thought that all these 13 guys was a Trammps when it was only 4 of us.
Okay.
It was only original 4 of us.
And you guys did a lot of TV, Top of the Pops, and all those TV shows you did.
Yeah.
With the Trammps.
Soul Train too.
Yeah.
But all the guys, it looked good like that.
Yeah.
And until the guys, a lot of the band members start getting the attitude, thinking they was the Trammps, and start going out talking about they the Trammps and they want royalty money. I said, well, you ain't the Trammps no longer. You ain't getting no royalties. You're not getting no royalties because you didn't play. You're not playing on the record. You're just in the band.
Just like
So that's something else I had to deal with, being a leader of the group. When we dress, I said, I'm dressing you because I want you to look good on my album cover and on my stage. You're not one of the Trammps. You are in the band. Always remember that. I'm paying you a salary. So a lot of people can feel, well, he's one of the Trammps. He's not one of the Trammps. There's only 4 Trammps. So I had to straighten that out with a lot of people. It was only Stanley, Doc, Jimmy Ellis, and myself. And I added Robert in the group because he has he can sing, and he has a great, and he recorded with us. So as he recorded with us, I officially thought of him as one of the members until he started breaking off and wanting to form his own group. So these are the things that you go through, when you're a leader of a group. Everybody wants to branch off and do their own thing because people get into your ear and say, well, you don't need Earl Young, man. You don't need Earl Young. Look, we got Jimmy Ellis. We don't need him. But they forget Jimmy's not the leader of groups. Jimmy didn't write a song.
He's a voice,
he never wrote
but he's not the leader.
He never co-wrote. He just sang what we told him to sing. So when I hear people say, if you don't have Jimmy Ellis, you don't have a group, I straighten that out real quick because he did nothing but sing what we told him to sing.
The man with the 76ers hat, you got a question for Earl Young?
Yes, I did. Hey, how you doing, Earl?
That's Kyle Mack, yeah.
Hey, so a couple of us had the luxury of getting to see you perform live. You were double billing with the Spinners up in New Brunswick. Last year or the year before, something like that.
Right, I remember.
And one of the things that struck me as incredible was, even, I believe then you're 84 now. I believe you were 82 then. Even at 82, your energy level is top tier. And people comment all the time on how great you look. Maybe it has something to do with your great health insurance. But what is the secret for you? What is your regimen? Because as an entertainer myself, I'd like to be able to still do what I want to do for a long time. And these days, 84 is a milestone. Not a lot of people get to do that. But for you, what is your secret to your onstage energy?
Okay, well, let me tell you what I do personally myself. What I've learned and studied. First of all, I'm a big person of respecting my body. Number one, because it's the only body that I have, and I've always respected my body. I've never been in the hospital in a day of my life, in all my 80 years, because I respect my body. And this is what singers and stuff have to learn, especially singers, because when you travel all over the world. And when you eat in one place, eat in another place, your body can't adjust to it. Because I've eaten in Japan and flew right back to Rome, ate something. So your body is kind of mixed up. You have to know how and what to eat and how much to eat. And so you don't see the first thing, I know a lot of people don't like to hear things like that, but imagine this. Let me just tell you how, I'm just telling you about me. Imagine this. Imagine I'm from Philly and I love Philly cheesesteaks and hoagies. Imagine if you could cut a hole in your stomach and you just jam a hoagie down in your stomach like it is, right? You wouldn't do that. But you're doing the same thing when you chew it. You're just grinding it up for your stomach. You're still eating the same food.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that is whatever goes into your mouth is what you eat goes into your through your system, through your heart. It has to travel through your arteries, through your brain. And when your brain, that's why people have a stroke, because of what you eat goes through your arteries. And musicians eat a lot of time. They eat anything.